You know, Murder Mystery 2 has a lot of weird perks. Trap,
Yeah.
ninja, slight, footsteps.
Slight is just, under.
All these are pretty niche in the greater realm of the good perks. One can argue that these perks are just underrated, and myself included. I've grown rather stale of the meta of Murder Mystery 2's bugs and exploits and rigid perk playstyles, and it's fun to experiment. But think about it this way, Ghost is such a cool perk if you just stop using it as a get out of jail, I really need to push someone behind a wall right now perk. It can mix up the matchup between a sheriff favoring your odds, and it can basically let you reposition anywhere you want. And I think positioning is a very overlooked aspect in gameplay. It starts to make sense once you realize that the best perks in a game are often the ones that allow the murderer to have the advantage in either information or chasing. X-ray is okay, but the power it gives in literally being able to turn on wall hacks can't be underestimated. Haste is great because it allows you to basically catch up with anyone, and you can really use the faster movement to position yourself in standoffs. Ghost literally breaks the game, yada yada. However, most perks are pretty special in use cases. Seriously, most perks are designed for information rather than pure offense, and wow, it's not surprising when suddenly the murderer who's supposed to rely on information and making good use of everything, they could just forfeit that. Just be able to kill people better. Murder Mystery 2 is a game where the objective of the murderer is to kill everyone under a timer, so allowing the killing to happen quicker rather than dragging the game out will always be a better option. But there is an objectively worse option for both information and killing. But which power is it? Which perk is so comically bad that it's never used? It's fake gun. It's this thing. It's fake gun. I bet you forgot about it, right? Fake gun is a perk that allows the user the ability to have a fake gun. Crazy observation, I know. This fake gun can't shoot and doesn't replace your knife, meaning you can both have a knife and gun at the same time. The fake gun itself lasts 10 seconds and the cooldown lasts 10. This item allows you to trick innocents and mess with their brain. An interesting concept. I actually quite like the idea, being able to deceive someone at a blink and get paranoia off you as you show your kind friends that you aren't a threat in society. The only issue with fake gun, however, is everything. This shit is ass. Let's start with the first issue. This thing only works once. This power is literally a one-trick pony, unless you kill passively, which even then, people have gotten good enough to sniff out who's the murderer if you do that. You can only really use this thing once. Actually, just scratch that. You just can't even use it. The innocents are supposed to keep track of who's who, and it's one of the most important parts of being an innocent. One of the most important parts, in fact, is keeping track of the sheriff. So if the sheriff makes their role known to everyone, good luck fooling them. Innocents will almost always know who the sheriff and murderer is once the action starts happening, and trying to fool someone who knows you're the murderer never works. Even when it does work, was it really worth it? Because right after this kill, everyone will either figure out that you're the murderer or immediately know, literally making this thing only work once. I find myself constantly asking, did that even help when I used this power? Chapter 2, that's it. Yup, that's literally all it does. So the pros of fake gun are so specific that it has niche use cases and it's almost always never going to work out, so what's the cons of it? Well, it's fake gun, alright? This thing is supposed to deceive players, not get you around the map or theory craft where people are. Straight up, this thing just sucks at what it does, and you lose so much for that ability. I lose literal sleep overthinking about the possible use case for this perk other than literally handicapping yourself if you're bored. And that's when it hit me. You aren't supposed to use fake gun for some, tactical disguise. It's simply a fooling technique. One could say that the cooldown is pretty comical. 10 seconds is really fast, and actually it was originally 30 seconds. 30 seconds! They thought 30 seconds for this god-awful shitty perk was a good idea? Well, back in my day, Murder Mystery 2 wasn't as chaotic as it was, and it was genuinely sometimes a game of deception. But as the modern era rolls over the stone carvings of the old ways, apparently fake gun is left in the dust as well. A genuinely cool concept for a perk that aged poorly. Also, 30 seconds is fucking cool. Okay, so how do we fix it? Chapter 3. I have no idea how to fix it. Fake guns simply cannot just be fixed. In the present day, people don't really play Murder Mystery 2 like a harsh example here, I know, but Among Us. They play it like it's fucking Doom. This balls to the walls playstyle works so well because that timer stops the murderer from waiting out the game. It forces them to always be offensive. So trying to deceive people in a game that forces you to be quick, it's not a surprise why this thing doesn't work. Some could argue that it does, but let's be honest here, Murder Mystery 2 has been around for so long that the player base has gotten a lot better at the game. And no, I'm not talking about the noobs. You can fool noobs with anything, but I'm talking about the majority of people who play this game. Casual players have grown accustomed to keeping track of who's who, and you're better off simply murdering everyone and focusing on dodging and positioning rather than sheer deception and knowledge. Fake gun only really fools people for so long. I've been hiding something about fake gun in this entire video, and it's finally time to show it. Fake guns' #1 way to fool people is a technique I call the rug pull, and it's where